Okay. I've been doing these webinars about different topics around 2023 for the past 2 months and planning to continue this through the year. It's just like an opportunity to explore and basically create more positive, I would say, positive intelligence around a time that cannot can be a little bit challenging or disorienting, which is the time that we are in right now. So I was thinking to do triple mantra, but we're not. Let's say we're moving through this information and things are going to be really good. Good to look at knowledge, good to look at information, even in areas that we are challenged in. There is always knowledge in any area of challenge. So if any of us feel being challenged or being would like to have circumstances be different, there is something to learn from it. So don't dismiss the challenges that we all going through, because in each one of them there is three aspects. In any challenge there is an aspect of knowledge, the gift of knowledge. There's the gift of power, means what kind of power I need to gain to overcome the challenge. And there is the gift of opportunity as well, because any challenge creates circumstances that we can actually go and invent something that is beyond. So there is a gift of inspiration. So there's three gifts in any challenge. I want you to remember this. There's the gift of knowledge, there's the gift of power, and there's the gift of inspiration. So with that says that in mind, let's look a little bit. So numerology in general define our experience in vibration. Tantric, or as I call it, free will numerology, is defined as a non-dual system. It's basically looks at vibration in our own personality and our universe as something to experience and learn from and grow with. And understanding all these factors, the factor of our personality, which when you look at your personality, we look at your own numeric chart. We're looking at your own energies, the one you brought from the time of inception and started to clock through this point in time, and maybe many more years. And the circumstances, the energies that actually you are moving through. In numerology, or the dharma of number, the wisdom of the rhythm, it's a ripple effect from 1 to 9. So when we're looking at this year, just to give you a little bit of a synopsis, this year, cycles moves in 9s and 18s. And we are literally in the middle zone of a 9-year cycle, which will be completed around between 2027 and 3/4 of 2028. So we are in the middle zone. We are in what we call a 5-year. Now, a year is like the mystery of the year, is like looking at the personality. When we're looking at a chart of a year, is like we're looking at a character that we all going to engage and experience. And that is 2023. And when we're looking at career, the first thing that we want to look at, this whole millennium we're talking about 80 more years. Everything is going to move through connection, collaboration, and an active role of leaving the past behind. So there's attachment. We all attach to the good times, the bad times, the experience with this person, that person. Has to be a clearing, ongoing clearing to actually leave the past behind in this time. So one thing that you need to look at is, one, who are your collaborators when it comes to career? Who are the people that you engage with? What is the networks that you work with? And are these networks relevant to this point in time? Because when we're looking at the 2000s, between now and 2100 numerically, we need to actually look at the networks and the collaboration that we're looking at or engaging with are relevant, are actually taking us to the areas or to the growth and the experiences that we want to grow into. And this doesn't matter if you are 20 or 70. We need to look at the relevancy of the people we engage with and how to upgrade the relevancy of relationships too. Some relationship, we have relationship of 30 years, 20 years. You always need to make them relevant. So that's the two. The characteristics of 23 is a living vibration. So one thing about the year 2023, the double twos creates balance as well as conflict or dispute. The double twos create struggles or trust. Over cooperating versus under cooperating. Some of us in our chart have these twos that makes us either overcompensating or not willing to cooperate. And that's something for you to look at in how you conduct your own journey. Now, the difference this year is that we have the vibration of 3. The vibration of 3 is what we call the positive mind. It's a second mental body in numerology. It's the mental projection of opportunity, of possibility. So it's actually a very dynamic year, and you can already feel it. The dynamicism of change is here. I'm going to talk in a minute about what does it mean. So this year cycle will provide us with many opportunities to be bold and take practical steps into our reality, not just any reality, our physical reality. Why this year is different? So in the tarot phase, 23 is the first card in the minor arcana, Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is the spark of life. It's the fruit within the seed already. It's the vision, the inspiration, its potency. It's a burst of creativity. It's the vision before it materializes. So if you take charge of it, you'll be successful in that. If you take charge of it, if you take authority into that vision, you will be successful in it. So in general, this is a 5-year, and 5 represent the physical body, physical reality, physical perception and limitation, physical circumstances. This is really important. So when we're looking at the 5th vibration, It has to do with areas of physical environment, physical body, movement. It represents physical strength or the lack of it. It represents change in physical circumstances and mental chatter. 5 is a busy mind. Now, 5 in career, 5 is the field of commerce and travel. It's a field of movement and the capacity of basically travel, discovering new areas. So when we're looking at the first area to look at in terms of like 5 is anybody who's dealing with athletes, anybody who's dealing with teaching. 5 is the teacher, the archetype of the teacher. Any area of commerce, because 5 is the archetype of the merchant or the act of bargaining. 5 is associated with travel guide or ranger in the park, national park. It's people who are engaged with the land, landscapers too. It's so when we're looking at career, anything to do with the physical body, from yoga to body workers to I would say people who use communication, sports. It's a very, very promising year. This is part of the areas because there are other areas. The negative side of a 5 is someone who likes to experience a lot of different areas. By the way, if you were born on the 5th, the 14th, the 23rd, you have a 5. It's a different representation of 5. And it will be basically express itself on the negative part as trying different things or wanting to experience different physical things, but not committing to the depth of creating expertise or mastery in one area. So watch for that tendency, because that tendency will be happening this year. It will be something that we all going to experience. We're going to start certain things and not complete them. We're going to go and sign up for a gym membership and not stick with it. Some of us will try a new career path and say after a couple of weeks, this doesn't feel good. Things like that. Now, 5 is a time cycle, is a physical change. It's movement. It's adventure of experience. So one thing to, as an application, is to avoid any impulsive behavior. Don't make any rush decisions. Because there's a lot of the urgency to travel or to move, or I need to kind of go somewhere else is very strong these days. There's also 5, it's a physical change. It's a physical change of our way of living on Earth too. So the proximity of earthquake, of extreme weather conditions suddenly will be much more evident this year than any other year. This is a time to create new opportunities, new discoveries. It can sometimes feel like, especially in the area of career, as an ups and downs. So one thing is to look in the area of career is to look at like the long haul of the experience, not to actually make a judgment because suddenly things didn't work this month or the other months. but to take much a longer point of view. That makes sense to you? I hope it does make sense to you. Let me know. Now, the influencing number of this year is a 7. So 7 in career, 7 has to do with boundaries, has to do with the auric field, has to do, if you were born on the 7th, the 25th, you have some of these qualities. 7 is the auric or the magnetic field. It's the intellectual side of our persona. It's the analytical mind. So when it comes to career this year with the 7, it's an inner wisdom. It has to do archetype of philosophy, detective work, scientific work in the lab, writing, publishing, monkhood as well. I mean, if any of us are planning to ordain ourselves in a path of monastery for some reason, for enlightenment or whatever, it's good year to do that. It's also 7 represent emotions, water, feminine, dreams. So anything to do with inner knowing, inner wisdom, counseling, therapy is 7 as well. So if you're in any of these areas of being a counselor, a coach, therapist, a numerologist, astrologer, somebody uses other forms of analytical or divination, a tarot reader, this is like a good year to engage more fully in that profession. Now, the asset of this year is a 3. So a year, when you look at a chart, like when you look at your personal chart or your personality, there is an area in the chart that is called the asset area. What is the asset area? The asset area has to do with the thing that works for us, the thing that will be more beneficial. So the asset area this year has to do with the number 3. And the number 3 has to do with beauty, has to do with area of profession, of nutrition, working with kids. 3 has to do with kids, any performing art, any public performing, even public speaking. The 3 and the combination of a 5-year, which is a 5-year, has that public speaking or public engagement or somehow public communication and teaching. 3 has to do with artistic expression or visual art. So you're going to see much more people engaging this year with visual arts, like painting, like drawing, like anything to do with some sort of a visual representation. Even fashion designers, you will see that going stronger. Also, I can say that it's not just a 3, it's a 12. So if you were born on the 3rd, the 12, the 30th of the months, you have some of these qualities. So we are looking at a lot of different qualities that this year is bringing. So But 12 is a special number. It's what we call a significant number. In numerology, there are significant numbers which provide an extra layer of information or insight to our character and characteristics. So for instance, the number 12 associated with the quality of the good shepherd. It's the one who gives a hand to nurture, sustain, and help others. So there's going to be many more people kind of suddenly looking for our assistance, or even you may look for some sort of help or assistance more than usual. So souls with this vibration of 12 needs to learn how to take care of themselves first so they can truly be at service for others. So that 12 vibration is really something to look at. So it's again creating boundaries when it comes to helping other people. It's like you need to actually know how to engage and help or sustain yourself so you can actually be able to help others. That makes sense to you. So the sum of career in a time of physical change, adventure, expression, internal configuration, external movement, communication, commerce, travel, attentiveness to the physical body and physical experience. All these areas will be more beneficial as a career choice or as an area to help other people. Again, body work, yoga, athletics, physical coach, trainers, physical trainers, communication experts, merchants, anybody that deal with commerce, with like selling products that are a commodity that has to do with food, has to do with self-care, taking care of the body, has to do even self-care associated with beauty and representation. That some of these products, also product that has to do with beauty, with making our flower arrangements, people who do murals. It's all going to be more pronounced this year. Again, other careers like teaching, guiding, field guide, travel agents, guides, travel, any of these travel software, political activity. 5 has to do with rebellious. So political activism, it's not politics, but activism. Rebels will gain momentum this year as well. Social services, feeding, philosophy, writing, therapy, detective work, spiritual teaching, or some sort of teaching that inspire. Musicians, 7 is music and lyrics. So any areas of that involve music or sound will be also beneficial. I guess I would love you to, as I said, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box. So I would open it to questions actually at this point. I mean, if you want to actually ask these questions aloud, that's fine as well. just unmute yourself and let's do it. Or do I need to unmute you? Maybe I do. Okay, great. So any questions? Any something to do with your own?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who is it?
This is Deborah Moss. Hi.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. So I missed a little bit of it because I couldn't figure out Zoom, but I got in 5 minutes after you started. So my birthday is on August 14th.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a very, I don't even know if this is quite fitting, but it's been a very unusual beginning of this year. Is this going to be
Absolutely. Absolutely.
this seems way more complicated this year than ever.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know. Is it,
It's here's the thing.
is it in my birth date? I mean, I guess I'm
So
asking
here's
that,
the
and then what
thing,
can
I'll
I
tell you
expect?
that. So,
Hmm?
I'm
Like what?
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. You want to ask some?
Yeah, I
What is
mean,
your questions? Let's ask.
well, okay, the birth date of August 14th, and then you're talking about careers. So what could I expect from this year? I'm sorry, I was hard to understand what you were doing just now. So I guess I'm just cutting to the chase.
Okay. So here's the thing. The two things that you need to actually be aware of. One is it's a 5 year. Five has to do with change. Five has to do with adventure. It's very so has to do with physical, circumstantial. Sometimes it can be even more mental on our mind in terms of like the acts or the things that going, things gonna move fast.
Yeah,
And since you are a 14 and it's a 5 on a daily basis, your I will tell you that some of your chaotic nature is being activated.
yeah,
So so for somebody, so in general, some of the thing to look at is first to take care of your physical body more than you usually do, to
yeah,
take care of movement,
yeah,
move it so it's not becoming an accumulation of mental chatter or mental confinement needs to be even greater, and some of us has it more than others, so that 5 that you have is being activated more. And as I said, a 5 when it goes negative, it can be wanting to have a lot of different experiences and not focusing on the career path or the basically the action needed to be taken in the specific area, but being all over the place. So this year is basically activating that aspect. It can feel chaotic at times. So the other thing is with a 5 is actually the areas of commitment and collaboration with other people.
yeah.
Um and I mean, I hope I'm helping you. Maybe
So what I'm sort of hearing you say is that um usually I'm pretty structured. Like I own a company and I kind of have way more enthusiasm towards it. Like I'm more defined at what I want. But I
right.
feel like this year I'm not. Like I'm just not interested in what I'm doing. And there's
Yeah.
other things that are kind of more interesting to me, though I still have interest in my company. But you're saying that that's to be expected, and to just move, just to go with that, and then at the same time be very mindful of my body. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
very
saying?
mindful of your body,
Yeah,
very
I
mindful.
actually am. I it's funny because I I'm doing something I've never done, and I've been doing it for a while, is I work out every day for an hour because I have to.
Let me tell you something, with your number, and I didn't look at all,
Yeah.
maybe it's a good idea to look at your full chart and
Yeah.
how, so here's the thing, this year is basically what we all experience, and we all experience some of it, but you have your own personal year as well.
Yeah.
So it may be in a different cycle, but your 5 is being activated in that manner.
Okay.
Um, and the thing is, you will find yourself distracted. And for you, I mean, I'll tell you just
Yeah.
off the bat, you have to move it every day. You have to.
Oh, yeah.
There's no other way.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see if there is other
Sure.
questions. Does that
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Come on.
Thank you. Actually, my question, hi Akiva, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's so nice to see
Nice
you.
to see you. Thank you for this webinar, first of all. Actually, the question that Deborah asked was along the lines, because I was born on a 5. So
Ah,
I was gonna ask if this was something, if there was something special
okay.
activated, and about moving every day. It's weird. It's kind of, I started walking every day for half
Yeah.
an hour to an hour
Great.
spontaneously. So thank you. Yeah.
Do you have other questions?
Yes, I had another question. So about being distracted. So
Uh-huh.
would your advice be to, if something is pulling us more artistically right now, to go through that path, or just continue going to the regular path that we have been doing and specialize more in what we have been specializing in?
It's a very good question. I would tell you that it's a year that actually will benefit an artistic expression. So the thing is with a 5 is that you want to create a structure around it. You know, you want to give time for it because it will be beneficial for you to do it. It will be beneficial for you to explore if you are drawn to an artistic expression, do it.
Great, thank you. Yes, I started taking painting classes on January.
Excellent.
So I have structure.
This is a double thing because it's a year that will be beneficial from learning as well as teaching, and will be beneficial from expressing some sort of visual outlet.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome. More questions? Come on. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it once a month.
I had a question. Why is it, what is a 12 came up because of the 3?
The 12 is actually that's a whole other question. How to build a chart. That's a different course.
Oh, okay, no worries. No,
But I will tell you that the 3 came out of the 12.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's like each one of us has how do you call? Has an asset and a liability in our chart. There's things that we need to work more, and there's things that we need to that's working for us, right?
Yeah.
So in the side of the chart of the asset, it's combination of the gift that we bring as well as past lives experiences that accumulated that provide us with a knowledge or wisdom that we can actually utilize in this lifetime. So that's what a chart sometimes, not sometimes, that's what part of what a chart will show up, basically. So it's interesting that you asked, because this year has the asset has to do with nourishment, has to do with nourishing other people, helping other people. But underneath it, there is this three, there is this visual expression as well.
Yes, thank you. That's pretty interesting. That hit a point for me about taking care of yourself to be able to then give and serve others also.
True. Other questions?
No, not really.
Okay. Any last questions about the year, about yourself?
No.
Okay. I was giving more time for questions. I was hoping, but maybe it's an opportunity for some of you to actually consider looking at your own chart.
Yeah.
If you want to look at your own chart and a chart, I mean, I'm gonna say a chart and a reading basically is consisted of looking at your natal chart and how it's going to unfold itself in the next year plus, how it's going to actually with a month by month progression. So it's a very actually beneficial tool, one, to actually set yourself for a structure that will work for you within the time cycle, as well as it create a plan for you to work with. So it's extremely beneficial. I've been using it both as a numerology reading tool, but also on the level of purpose and life coaching as well, which is something I do and offer as well. If people needs more of a structure. And with that, I guess I'm gonna thank you for being on this webinar and making time to show up. I will let me just make sure that I'm kind of pausing